This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
Yabba dabba dabba doo, it's the Mike Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast for you.
This is the Mike Kelly podcast.
Mike Kelly.
And we're off with another fun-filled Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast.
On this week's podcast,
Coming up, my digital friend Joyce, fake showbiz news, recommend a pod, charities, corridors, crocodiles, Clarkson, cricket, councils, celebrity pubs, plus lots of stuff you don't know and a whole lot more.
Live across the universe, it's the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast.
Morning, I see Mr. Shouty is still here.
Correct, my friend. Are you all set to do the podcast?
Indeed I am. You know how everybody has their own podcast these days. I was just thinking microphone and headphone sales must be higher than they have ever been in the past.
Good thought. In the old days, it was just comedians and musicians in the main.
it's Joyce's bit of the show with sidekick Mike Kelly.
Are you getting a cold? I'm going to put my face mask on.
That's an improvement. Yes, I'm coming down with something. Probably the bird flu that Trump does not want us talking about.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
I'm Mike Kelly with the latest Shorter Than Short news. Our top story. Leicester Liz gets legal team to order Keir Starmer not to say she crashed the economy. Unrest in Bournemouth as Beach Hut 2359 is threatened with demolition. This is no ordinary beach hut, it has a blue plaque and it's the first municipal beach hut in the UK and goes back to 1909. Round egg found at farm in Devon to be auctioned. Bert, the giant crocodile that starred in the Crocodile Dundee movies, has died aged 90. Candlelit vigil outside HMP Eastwood Park to mark gay D-Lap's 78th birthday. D-Lap was recalled to prison before Christmas when Serco, which manages tagging for the Ministry of Justice, was unable to find an electronic tag to fit her small wrists. String jellyfish causing havoc to Norwegian salmon industry, now moving to Scotland. That's it. You're up to date with all the news that is news this hour. I'm Mike Kelly for STS News.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
And what's out there on the social media sites? The Secret Barrister, your reminder that under the use of our courtrooms at a time of record trial backlogs is deliberate government policy. It began under the last government and continues under this one because criminal justice only matters when there's a cheap tabloid headline to be won. Too much spoon. I cannot think of a single advantage AI has over well-paid, well-trained people. Only one will lead to prosperity for all. This could be the most dangerous decision this government has made. Kieran Hurley, AI, perfectly encapsulates where we are at as a culture in that, broadly, nobody wants it, it'll make things more shit, it has huge environmental cost, it will make a small number of absolute dipshits astronomically wealthy, so we're going all in on it for that reason. Prem Seeker, Tony Blair tells Brits to stop self-diagnosing with depression as UK cannot afford spiralling benefits bill. Multimillionaire declares war on the less well-off. Mental health problems caused by insecurity, poverty, lack of healthcare, mostly due to government policies. John Burley. The term commentator was never a thing until a decade or so ago. The acceptance of nobodies straight out of school to argue on subjects they have no experience of goes hand in hand with the erosion of respect for dedicated journalists who devote their life to integrity. Lorna 0873, Virgin Media are so sly, trying to charge me £35 installation fee when they're sending me the equipment to install myself. They've now waived the said fee.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Please do us a favour and tell a friend or two about the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast show. and show them where they can access it so we can get them listening. If you want to get in touch about anything to do with the Shorter Than Short podcast show, please connect and follow. We're on most social media sites, but the main one is Mike DJ Kelly on Blue Sky Social.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
And what's happening at Jeremy Clarkson's Farmer's Dog Pub, which opened last summer, has said that he and his team are learning and listening to customer feedback. Therefore, he's now introducing 3 new rules for the pub. You can now book lunch and will also leave some room for walk-ins. The Farmer's Dog will now be open 6 days a week from Tuesday to Sunday and will be opening from 11 a.m. Last but not least, the owner of the venue has announced that on Monday nights the pub will be open for locals only. Meanwhile, former Top Gear mate James May's pub, the Royal Oak, an award-winning country pub and hotel situated in the picturesque village of Swallowcliff, offers a wonderful blend of traditional 18th century architecture and stylish modern interior design. The Royal Oak is the perfect rural hideaway, whether you're popping in for a quick drink, dining or staying overnight. We cannot wait to welcome you. We offer locally sourced produce of the highest quality in a relaxed atmosphere. Your choice, which sounds best? What about Richard Hammond? Has he got one yet? Well, he is part owner of the James May venture at the Royal Oak and is banned from Clarkson's Farmer's Dog. Maybe we could start a new feature, Celebrities with Pubs. Let's have a quick Google. Sir Ian McKellen, The Grapes, Ed Sheeran, Bertie Blossoms, James Blunt, The Fox and Pheasant, Guy Ritchie, Law of the Land, Dave Beckham, Walmer Castle, Rick Astley, Michaela, all in London. Then there's Arberia Bar in South Shields, owned by Little Mix's Jade Thirlwall.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Joyce, what's this?
It's what you asked for, some tofu.
No, you said, would I like a drink? And I said Typhoon.
Mr. Mikey at the mic, would you like me to get you something else?
Yes, please. I'm not sure what to do with these dried soya beans that have been soaked in water, crushed and boiled.
You're supposed to eat it, and it's tofu, tofu, tofu.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
And in our Here's Something You Don't Know spot, 6 degrees of separation is the idea that all people are 6 or fewer social connections away from each other. As a result, a chain of friend of a friend statements can be made to connect any 2 people in a maximum of 6 steps. It's also known as the 6 handshakes rule. Mathematically, it means that a person shaking hands with 30 people and then those 30 shaking hands with 30 other people would, after repeating this 6 times, allow every person in a population as large as the United States to have shaken hands. If you did it 7 times, that would cover the whole world. The concept was originally set out in a 1929 short story by Frigyes Karinthy, in which a group of people play a game of trying to connect any person in the world to themselves by a chain of 5 others. It was popularised in John Gar's 1990 play, 6 Degrees of Separation.
Well, I have a better one. The original version of the board game Monopoly was based on Atlantic City in New Jersey. Charles B. Darrow invented the game during the Great Depression, named the streets after his favorite vacation spot. The original Monopoly was originally called the Landlord's Game.
Yabba dabba dabba doo, it's the Mike Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast for you.
I see that York Council has increased parking charges to £10 for 2 hours, plus 10% extra at busy times like weekends, bank holidays and Christmas. My personal view is they've gone stark, staring bonkers mad. They might be short of cash, but putting people off coming into the city is not going to help. Bradford is planning to raise the council tax by 15%. Leeds is considering closing bowling greens or raising fees. So when did these all-powerful councils begin? The Local Government Act of 1888 established county councils in England and Wales. The Act created 66 county councils plus a London County Council. An Act of Parliament in 1894 established town and parish councils. Parish and town councils are central to local activity in their communities. They are supposed to give people the opportunity to get involved in local affairs, events and campaigns. They also encourage people to make their views known. This is important with issues such as maintaining the character of the local area. This might be what they're supposed to be doing, but I think they've lost the plot and the vision for a better future. Instead, they're just selling things off and reducing services to meet budgets. Councils failing has been engineered by people who want them to fail.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
And here it is, our once in a blue moon transport spot. In the year 2000, tourism chiefs in Liverpool were banned from putting up motorway signs saying, "Liverpool, the birthplace of the Beatles," because the Highways Agency thought the signs would distract motorists. Dozens of transport police stations may close. Despite a rise in assaults, BTP say a hiring freeze and a budget shortfall of £8.5 million will lead to a reduced presence. New, longer trailers are allowed on UK roads to carry light loads. Trailers can now be up to 16.65 metres long. That's 2.05 metres longer than current ones. BMW has made great progress in developing hydrogen engines and sees it as a more sustainable alternative to electric cars.
Joyce, the official assistant on the Shorter Than Short podcast show.
Mr. Mike DJ Kelly, you got a bit wound up on the last poddy about the colour of recycle bins being different in different areas.
Yes, I remember, Joyce. Why do you ask?
Well, I was wondering if we can look forward to some sort of rant on this week's show.
Yes, it's coming next.
Do I wonder what it will be about? Will it be beer prices, lycra-clad cyclists, cars with bright headlights, churchgoers, rich people? Which is it?
The last one.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
Maybe if we did not have the £20 billion black hole, the rest of our finances and councils would be okay. Maybe some of the UK's mega rich like Gopper Hinduja, worth £37.2 billion, Sir Leonard Blavatnik, worth £29.25 billion, David and Simon Rubin, worth £24.98 billion, Sir Richard Ratcliffe, worth £23.52 billion, Sir James Dyson, worth £20.8 billion, cleared the debt for us and reset the national finances. If Dyson, the poorest on the list, paid £20 billion, he would still have £0.8 billion to live on. Surely that's enough. If instead of Bradford raising council taxes by 15%, this lot paid more tax, the problems would start to go away. And do remember, according to the 2024 Sunday Times Rich List, there were 165 billionaires in the United Kingdom.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
And on the TV and radio, nothing new happening unless you class More Dragon's Den and The Apprentice as new. Strangely, both started around this time in 2005. If you want something new, why not try the BBC's Smoggy Queen's new drag sitcom, or change channel and indulge yourself with Dr. Pimple Popper. Adverts, not sure about the proud as a peacock theme in the Wick's Kitchen advert. I'm not sure how many people know what a peacock is these days, never mind being as proud as one. Last week, due to shifts, I got to hear BBC local radio at 11 p.m. and what seems to be a national radio show where they mention every listener by name and location. Accidentally tuned into the wrong TV show after I heard killers caught on camera and expected to see Brandon Flowers and the Nevada-based rock band. Instead, it was something a lot more gruesome. I do quite like homes under the hammer, but why are so many of the houses that are being done up in Stoke or Staffordshire? Is there a glut of cheap and collapsing housing in need of doing up in that area, or is the TV company based nearby? And what's with the new Colgate toothpaste TV commercials? They've gone all red in colour, more like lipstick commercials. They used to be all bright, white and teethy.
Yabba dabba dabba doo, it's the Mike Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast for you.
Don't forget, pod pickers, if you want to get in touch about anything to do with the Shorter Than Short podcast show, please use the following to contact us. And if you have any stories, gossip, jokes, or anything for the next episode, do connect and follow Mike DJ Kelly on Blue Sky Social. Please do follow, and if you have time, it would be appreciated if you could give us a review on any of the usual feedback sites. And in our Why Aren't They on the Telly spot, today's much missed talent is the great Roland John Rivron, born 28th of September 1958, who is a British writer, comedic actor and TV personality and musician. Amongst his musical attributes, he played drums on Fat Les's 1998 single Vindaloo. He's also featured regularly on BBC TV's French and Saunders show. He was a contributing writer to Rhythm, a UK drumming magazine, and is a regular guest on Jules Holland's BBC shows, in which he once demonstrated a square snare drum made by Robert Daniels. Rivron appeared on children's TV programme Blue Peter at the age of 15, playing the drums, presented the comedy BBC Radio 2 shows Jammin' and Radio Rivron, and starred in the Channel 5 programme Trust Me, I'm a Holiday Rep. Rivron also appeared on Richard and Judy's New Position as the celebrity barman. He has starred and appeared in many TV shows, including A Question of TV, Shooting Stars, Incredible Games, The Price of Fish. In 2006, Rivron was part of Channel 4's Come Dine With Me. He was also the first celebrity to be voted out of the 2007 edition of Comic Relief Does Fame Academy. What we want to know is why Paddy McGuinness, Gino D'Acampo, Anton Deck, Alan Carr and Amanda Holden are always on TV and Roland Rivron is not.
It's interesting hearing all the different things Roland Rivron has done. What was your first job, Mr. Mike DJ Kelly?
As a paperboy, then a Saturday job in the local hardware and DIY shop, then sort of the same stuff as I'm doing now. What about you, my digital friend?
It was when I was living with my parents in Bridlington. I got a job at the local Sara Lee cake factory putting the cherries on the cakes.
Gosh, we used to buy Sara Lee cakes. What's happened to them?
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Today's do-gooders are Meniere's.org.uk. Meniere's Society, improving the lives of people affected by dizziness and imbalance. We are the UK's leading charity for vestibular disorders. We are here to help people with inner ear vestibular disorders. We provide essential support and information to enable people to cope positively and get the right diagnosis. We are a voice for sufferers and raise awareness within the medical community and wider public for greater understanding. We work towards a brighter future through investment in vital medical research. A vestibular disorder is a condition that affects your balance and the sense of orientation. It can be caused by inner ear problems, infections, medications, or traumatic brain injury. Find out more about today's do-gooders at menieres.org.uk.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Today's music quiz features a big hit that was a tribute to Billy Connolly after he left the Humble Bums. What song are these lines from? Well, I don't know why I came here tonight. I've got the feeling that something ain't right. I'm so scared in case I fall off my chair, and I'm wondering how I'll get down the stairs. Name the song or the artiste.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
And on a musical note, Nevada-based Surf Curse's song, Freaks, is in the Spotify Billions Club, having achieved over 1 billion streams. The song was written in 30 minutes one afternoon when the guys decided to start a band. TikTok fuels the demand for the streams, and established artists like Pink Floyd, Bob Dylan, Prince or Bruce Springsteen are nowhere to be seen in the Billion Streams Club.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Did you know only 10 companies control almost every large food and beverage brand in the world? These companies: Nestle, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Unilever, Danone, General Mills, Kellogg's, Mars, Associated British Food and Mondelez. Each employs thousands and makes billions in revenue every year. In 2018, Weight Watchers changed its name to WW, attached to the tagline "Wellness That Works." It's now changing tack again and moving into the area of prescription weight loss drugs. If you're new to the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast, you can still get to hear all previous episodes just by searching or shouting the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
More from the social media sites. Ron Manager remembers Nottingham and stuff. Like shell-shocked veterans, only now are those children of the 70s opening up about the trauma of nylon pyjamas and nylon sheets. Ivor W. Hartman: one of the coolest things about publishing a book in Norway is that the government will automatically buy 1,000 copies, 1,500 if it's a children's book. These will then be distributed to all the libraries. John Gelson: please consider supporting this petition calling for everyone over 60 in England to have the same concessionary bus travel as already enjoyed in Scotland and London. James Melville: almost every public service and infrastructure is crumbling. Millions of people are really struggling to survive the cost of living crisis, and many are slipping into bankruptcy. Bad health, poverty and homelessness. NHS waiting lists are at record levels of over 7 million people. BBC Newsnight: I've been waiting for over 26 years now for my compensation. The oldest victim of the Post Office Horizon scandal, 92-year-old Betty Brown, she is disgusted that some postmasters have not received full compensation yet.
Yabba dabba dabba doo, it's the Mike Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast for you.
Fake Showbiz News at Fake Showbiz News: Captain Sensible reveals his moniker is ironic. I'm actually quite zany, he giggled. Money-saving expert Martin Lewis warns buying half-price wrapping paper in January for next Christmas is a gamble. You might drop dead in June, he said. Paul Young and Will Young announced as remaining headliners for this year's Glastonbury Festival. Neil Young abandons his boycott of Tesco, announced on Thursday after discovering they've got a good deal on Jaffa cakes.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Okay, it's time to guess the celebrity. Born the 15th of January 1965, he is an actor and presenter from Northern Ireland. Born in Ballymena, County Antrim, he wanted to become a teacher and began a degree in French at the University of Ulster. He dropped out after a year when he decided to become an actor and transferred to the Central School of Speech and Drama in London. He made his feature film debut playing Agent Fintan O'Donnell in Hear My Song in 1991. He got his breakthrough TV role playing Adam Williams in the romantic comedy drama Cold Feet. He is an advocate of numerous charities, and in 2010 he accepted the ceremonial position of Chancellor of the University of Ulster. Who is he?
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Recommend a pod. If you like cricket, try the Cricket Badger podcast with James Butler. It's a very professional and impressive operation.
Sorry, but it was Mike DJ Kelly. What did you expect?
What's this nanny state thing that means that things get cancelled at short notice? All these weather warnings we get now mean things are cancelled before the weather happens. Hogmanay was cancelled in Scotland for fear of bad weather that did not materialise. My local market is constantly cancelled for fear of bad weather. If the Met Office puts out a weather warning, the media is on it. But if they then change the forecast later, the media doesn't update the story.
This is the Mike Kelly Podcast.
So let's have the final burst from those social media sites. Rosie Walters. It seems my direct ancestor, an eminent Elizabethan designer and surveyor called John Thorpe, is the man credited with inventing the corridor. Yes, the corridor, not the windowsill or drain pipe, but the corridor.
My turn, Jackie Walker. Prince William is second in command of a family worth £69 billion. He wants to end homelessness. The charity crisis say this will cost £1.9 billion. What's the problem? Just do it. Daniel Priest. Fun fact: in 2001, the UK government sold 600 of its HMRC buildings to a Bermuda corporation, Mapley Steps Limited, for £220 million. HMRC now rents its buildings for around £269 million a year.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly Podcast.
And in the late news, last week, of around 97,000 beds in the NHS, 1 in 7 were occupied by patients medically fit to be released. 29 female prison guards have been fired for having sex with prisoners in the last 3 years. Tortoise Media, which seems a strange name for a media company, now owns the 233-year-old Observer newspaper.
This is the Shorter Than Short Podcast with Mike Kelly.
Okay, it's time to go. Guess the song or name the artist who had a hit with the song that these lines were from. Well, I don't know why I came here tonight. I've got the feeling that something ain't right. I'm so scared in case I fall off my chair. I'm wondering how I'll get down the stairs. Name the song or the artiste. It was Stealers Wheel, Stuck in the Middle with You. Guess the celebrity. Born the 15th of January 1965, he is an actor and presenter from Northern Ireland. Born in Ballymena, County Antrim, he wanted to become a teacher and began a degree in French at the University of Ulster. He dropped out after a year when he decided to become an actor and transferred to the Central School of Speech and Drama in London. He made his feature film debut playing talent agent Fintal O'Donnell in Hear My Song in 1991. He got his breakthrough TV role playing Adam Williams in the romantic comedy drama Cold Feet. He is an advocate for numerous charities, and in 2010 he accepted the ceremonial position of the Chancellor of the University of Ulster. Who is he? William James Nesbitt. Today's do-gooders are Meniers.org.uk.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kelly. You are out of time. You must stop now.
Guess what? That's enough for this edition of the crazy Shorter Than Short podcast show. From me, Mike Kelly.
And me, Joyce.
Thank you for listening. Please take care out there. And remember, you can always find the podcast by searching or shouting the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast.
This is the Shorter Than Short Podcast with Mike Kelly.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly Podcast.
Yabba dabba dabba doo, it's the Mike Kelly Shorter Than Short Podcast for you.
This is the Mike Kelly Podcast.
Mike Kelly.